And we are live. Hi everyone, I'm so happy to be here today. Welcome to today's broadcast. I'm so happy to be with you. My name is Lawrence Nkwocha. This is Formula for Everyday podcast. If this is the first time you are ever getting on this broadcast, welcome. I'm so happy to be with you. Yeah, so like we always do it, there's something I say, we may hope to do better things tomorrow, but the best things are done today. I have this belief that every day is an opportunity for you to do better and get better with everything that has been handed on to you. You're a steward of your life, your time, your attention, and even your resources. So today we'll be looking at a very interesting thought and topic of discourse. By the way, I'm streaming live from the city of Lagos, Nigeria. Um, I'd really like you to put down in the comments where you are streaming from. And okay, so we're looking at a very interesting thought and an idea, which is living through uncertainty. Now, some people claim that uncertainty is one of the major needs of man. Man needs to have a level of uncertainty to be enthusiastic about living life. Uncertainty is something that each and every one of us has passed through. I mean, no matter the amount of your resources, your material resources, your financial resources, there's still a level of uncertainty because there are levels to the game. I mean, you can be very certain when it comes to your personal finances, but are you as certain when it comes to your business? Are you as certain when it comes to the economy? I mean, for a couple of years now, the naira has been affected greatly by the dollar. So these are some of the things that you cannot be certain of. So this while we continue to live, we need to think about how we can live through uncertainty. So each and every one of us may have encountered uncertainty in our mental our mental health, our finances, even our our spirituality. Sometimes you come to a place of uncertainty where you can even possibly begin to question your faith, probably because of the things that are going on around you. But this one thing you should always remember, that in times like this, or in times of uncertainty, there have always been times like this. If you're a student of history and the world and you read through history, there must definitely be a time that something similar to what is happening right now happened to you. Okay, and even the good book says that there is nothing that is new under the sun, or there is no temptation that is new to man. So it simply means that every single thing that is going on right now has happened somewhere in history. So how exactly do you live through these uncertain times? How exactly do you accept the reality that things are definitely going to get to a point where you have no control over them? You need to work with the variables that have been presented to you in order to be able to survive. And I'm so glad to have you here. If you are watching this at any point in time, or even live on this broadcast right now, there's one thing that I know for sure, and that is the fact that you're watching this simply means that those uncertain times were able to pass. And that's good news, because once uncertain times pass, you have courage to face similar times whenever you see them. Because one good thing that uncertainty does is it builds our faith, it builds our resolve, it builds our courage. Okay, so when we consider the term of uncertainty, one of the first things you must know is that everything about life could be uncertain. I mean, this is one of the reasons why faith is a very important principle, not just in religion, but in our everyday life. We have to believe. I mean, you hear people say, make statements like, believe in the process. Okay, believing in the process requires believing in what you cannot see or what is not even promised, but you have a level of hope and assurance that whatever you have been promised will be given to you. Now, that is you living through an uncertain time. So, we must understand that life is simply designed to be uncertain. Although, the good thing about life is there are principles that have been set in place. So, in as much as things are uncertain, they are predictable. It's possible to predict what may happen, even though there is no absolute certainty of what is actually going to happen. But I like to quote a very profound poet from my days as an undergraduate. He wrote that the moment of absolute certainty never comes. It never comes. So there will never come a time where you are 100% sure of an outcome. There will never come a time where you are absolutely confident that things are going to go your way. So you can only have faith and have the discretion to work according to your plan, but there is no 100% certainty that things are actually going to turn out the way you've planned them to be. All right. So one of the things you should do in order to be able to guide yourself to live through uncertainty, even when you have um, unexpected circumstances, delayed answers in terms of your expectation, closed doors. You have changing circumstances. One of the things that you must do is you have to control what you do right now. I mean, there's every possibility that you cannot control tomorrow. In fact, some people even say tomorrow is not promised, which that's a very, there's a very strong argument to that. Tomorrow is not promised, but what you have is today. You have today to make the most of your life. You have today to make the most of what you've been given. And how you use today would ultimately determine what your tomorrow would look like to a very great extent. Okay, so how you can live through these uncertain times, like I first mentioned, you need faith. So far beyond the religiosity of when we make faith just a religious concept, far from that, faith is a principle of living. I mean, even the good book says the just shall live by faith. I mean, for you to be able to rationally live, I mean, faith is not rational, but for you to be able to be alive, you need faith, because a lot of things happen that we cannot entirely explain. Even with the advent of science and technology, a lot of things still happen that we cannot predict. That's why man's desire for time travel has continued to grow over the centuries, but it has still remained an impossible feat, because man is curious about what is going to happen. Man has turned to different mediums and just to see what would the future be like. It's uncertain, but one thing that is certain is today, and you need to have certainty in your uncertainty. Life in itself is uncertain, but one thing that is certain is today. One thing that is certain is you right now watching this podcast, trying to improve yourself. Because I know if you had the time to actually sit down and tune into Formula for Everyday podcast, then you actually want to be better. You want to do better, and that's why you need to follow the steps that can help you gain a level of certainty even in uncertainty. Now, how exactly do you begin to grow certainty? So first of all, you need to show up every single day. Thank you very much, D Collins. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's broadcast. I would really appreciate if you could, engage me with questions if you have any at all. So, how exactly do you respond to the uncertainty of life? You have to show up with certainty. And like I mentioned, the only thing you can control is today. You can't control what happened yesterday. What has happened yesterday has is already past. What will happen tomorrow is not in your hands, but what you are promised is what you can handle today. I mean, like I said, the certainty you have is that you are sitting through this broadcast this evening, listening to some of these profound thoughts and how you can get better, take action today. Okay, so how you can control the uncertainty of life is by controlling today. You can control today. And how you do that is by showing up. Like I mentioned in a previous broadcast, showing up doesn't mean you show up online, you make content, you post, you take a screenshot of your screen. Oh, I'm working. That could be part of it, as a social proof, as a process documentation. But the real showing up is showing up in exactly what you've set out to achieve. So let's take for instance athletes like Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, which are the debate goes on even after the World Cup. But these are elite athletes. They are elite sportsmen that show up every single day in the gym because they have to train their body for games. Now, some of these trainings are relevant to games, while some of the trainings are not relevant. But they know one thing for sure: they must show up every single day to train. And it's not every of their training session they document and post online. In fact, that's the list of the achievement, posting online for them. So there are things that are personal to your dreams. There are things that are personal to where you want to be. For me, one of the things that is personal to me is showing up on this podcast every day to on this broadcast every day to share these thoughts with you, because this is one of the things I'm passionate about. There are so many other things I do behind the scene that I don't even have that opportunity to share, or for the sake of privacy I don't want to share now. But those are things that I need to do every single day to actually guard the certainty that I would have in this uncertain life, So your level of certainty continues to increase as you decide to control today. So you need to show up. Then secondly, you need to learn how to think clearly. You need to learn how to think clearly. It's no surprise that a law of attraction is working in our everyday life. So whether you know it or not, whether you are aware of it or not, there's a law of attraction working. And that law states that thought is creative and it will automatically correlate with its object to bring it into manifestation. So whether you are aware of what is going on or not, you are always drawing things into your life, either consciously or unconsciously. So you need to be very deliberate about the things that you expose your mind to. I'm talking about the online content, the kind of people you follow. You know, for Africans, especially Nigerians, we are not very conscious of this, but our ecosystem has been there's a lot of psychological warfare going on in Africa. The kind of contents that were being shown, the kind of contents that the algorithm even pushes us to create. You need to be very conscious of all these things, the kind of content you consume, the kind of podcasts you listen to, the kind of books you read, even the kind of things you say. So thinking clearly, our ultimate goals as human beings is to be able to think correctly, and thinking correctly is thinking clearly through the use of universal principles. For me, my I get most of my precepts from the Bible because I'm a Christian, and I believe that the Bible has a lot of timeless principles that can transform the life of anybody. So whatever it is that works for you, you need to ensure that you are thinking correctly every single day. Then next would be to act wisely. I mean, I like the book Think and Grow Rich, but there are very few people that have taught their way to riches. You need to learn how to take action. Take action, no matter how small. If it means to send that message, if it means to call that friend, if it means to keep up with trends, you need to learn how to take action and take the action consistently. Because the fact is that if you don't take action, nothing changes. I like that law from Newton that says, the first Newtonian law. It says that unless an object is acted upon by external forces, nothing happens. It will remain at rest. In fact, during the week, funny enough, I saw a quote that um, an idiot in motion is an idiot in motion is better than a genius at rest. So you need to consistently be in motion. You need to move. You need to get things done. You need to have a to-do list to, you know, control your day, because that's the only certainty you can get in this uncertain world. If you are able to control today, then you build on that. Then generally, we must also remember that uncertainty is a temporal thing, but the character you build, I mean, you could go through uncertain times that feels like the world is going to end, and it won't end. I mean, like I mentioned, each and every one of us have been through that tough time that we feel like that's the end of the world, but today we are here. And what remains after such times is the character you are able to build, the character you're able to form from whatever it is that you have gone through. There are times of being, I mean, for me, one of the times I really hate is when when I'm broke, when I don't have money to continue to operate my business or to follow through with the plans that I've already set. But even in uncertain times like that, I tend to learn a lot of things, because there is always a lesson in every situation for each and every one of us. So character is something that stays even when everything continues to seem uncertain. So you need to pay close attention to exactly what you are learning, because eventually it will pass. And when it passes, you'll be grateful that you kept on moving. You'll be grateful that you did not give up, you did not quit, you did not throw in the towel because of that temporary situation. And you would know that if you could pass through such challenge, if you could pass through such uncertainty, you build it as a habit. You begin to build grit. You begin to build resilience that you can be able to surmount anything that comes to you at all. So the goal is to eliminate uncertainty. And in order to be able to eliminate uncertainty, you must be certain of something. And being certain of something is being certain of things you can control. If you promise yourself that you are going to be optimistic, do everything you can. If it means to set, reminders on your phone to, have positive confessions and affirmation, whatever works for you. If it's promising yourself that you are going to show up here every day for this conversation, if it's promising yourself that you are going to write a tweet or a thread of tweets every day, if it's promising yourself that you're going to create content or apply for a new job or apply for a new opportunity or reach out to a prospective investor, you need to be very certain about the input you are making, because it's the input that you're making that is the certainty that will control the uncertainty of your outcome. So just do what you do and don't really, don't bother yourself about the outcome, because the outcome is not in your hands to control. Okay? The outcome is not in your hands to control. So, in as much as you are trying to control how much you can control, the goal entirely is not to just eliminate uncertainty. The goal is to become the kind of person who can move forward in spite of uncertainty. So no matter what happens, no matter, even if it looks like the world is going to end, what you have promised yourself to do is exactly what you're going to follow through to do. So the real confidence is built when you're able to, navigate through, uncertain times. And I really hope that today has been of great value to you. I appreciate you for tuning in to today's broadcast. This is Formula for Everyday Podcast. My name is Lawrence Nkwocha, and like I would always say, we may hope to do the better things tomorrow, but the best things are done today. So, whatever it is you set out to do, don't relent, continue to push forward, and it only gets better. So, until I come your way again um, tomorrow, by God's grace, um, I'll see you again. Bye for now.